Colin Kaepernick's protest involving America's national anthem is just the story that keeps on giving. Never mind that the issue he protests, the apparent oppression of African Americans, has absolutely nothing to do with the national anthem. Never mind that the Veterans for Kaepernick hashtag in response to backlash against the gesture was filled with Photoshop pictures of vets lifted from the internet and a bunch of people pretending to be vets in support of the quarterback. Never mind the NFL's clear bias. They forbid the Dallas Cowboys from displaying decals on their helmets in support of the police force, while allowing Kaepernick to don socks with cartoon pigs dressed in uniform to practice. Let's talk about the Fidel Castro Malcolm X t-shirt he wore to a press conference that said, "Like minds think alike." I honestly don't think Colin Kaepernick has bothered to educate himself on Castro's human rights record, because if he did, he'd know that he'd face potential jail time in Cuba for speaking out the way he has. In 2003, a roundup of journalists and human rights activists ended up in a combined 1,400 years of imprisonment for a total of 78 people. He would also know that Castro is responsible for institutionalized racism in Cuba, where discrimination against Afro-Cubans is commonplace. Astronomical levels of hypocrisy on display for the world to see. You'd think a social justice warrior would be aware of these things before making a complete buffoon of himself on the world stage. Actually, what am I talking about? That would be the real surprise, since these clowns usually aren't armed with facts. But what an insult to all of the people that have fled Cuba to escape actual oppression. But here's the thing. For the media, it's totally okay for Kaepernick to wear a Castro t-shirt, not okay for a GOP voter to wear a Trump t-shirt. Last week, retired cop and hero Stephen Eckel saved a baby from a hot car by using a sledgehammer to break open a window. CNN Headline News then had the former officer on to discuss his act of heroism, and he was wearing a Donald Trump shirt. On a later broadcast, they blurred the t-shirt out. So basically, an uninformed celebrity spreading nonsense using his platform and wearing a t-shirt that displays a Marxist-Leninist Cuban nationalist that has a horrendous human rights record is a hero. In fact, even President Obama has come out in support of the football player, although unsurprisingly, since he's the most divisive president in the history of the United States, in my humble opinion. This uninformed millionaire quarterback is the next Martin Luther King to these people. Totally okay to display his t-shirt showing alignment with the leader of a country responsible for mass deaths, repression of religion, and blatant racism. Basically, any human rights complaint that you can possibly think of, Castro is guilty of committing. But an obvious Republican wearing a Donald Trump t-shirt can only be a hero if he has a political affiliation that aligns with the network. They say it was a mistake, but is anyone buying that after engaging in the demonization of Mr. Trump? The mainstream media simply can't be trusted anymore, and this is just one of the many examples stacking up against them. They can't even hide their bias. In fact, they don't even bother trying. For the Rebel.media, I'm Holly Nicholas.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.